Hey guys, my name is Gabby, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be filming my February TBR. It's already February, can you believe it? And it's time to pick my next reread. If you didn't know, in the year of 2019, I set it out to make it a goal for myself to try to reread one of my favorite books every month. Last month it was Atheists Who Kneel and Pray by Taryn Fisher, and I did read it, and it was a great time, and so now it is time to make the selection of the next book to reread. So let's do this. This one here. Unravel. Let me go get it. So the reread I chose is Unravel by Callie Reed. This is a kind of like a thriller. It's like a romantic thriller that I read a long time ago. I gave 5 stars to this book and I really loved it, so I've been wanting to reread it ever since. Yeah, it's kind of awesome because it's not too long, so I'm really excited to reread this one actually, so lit. And then I've also made it a goal for myself in 2019 to try to read one of my book of the month selections every month. I don't actually have my book of the month selections here with me yet. I know that the book of the Winter Sister is a book that I'm getting a book of the month copy of. It's a long story, but I got duplicate copies of this book, but I am planning on reading The Winter Sister as my book of the month selection this month. This one is an adult thriller. This girl's sister got murdered 16 years ago or something, and they never really found out what happened with the murder, and so then this book takes place like years and years later when she's like making all these new discoveries about her sister's death. It just sounds like something I would really like. This one is definitely on my TBR, definitely one that I'm going to be reading in February. Another one of my book of the month selections that I might get to this month is On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. It's Angie Thomas's second novel, and I'm so excited. This one is a young adult novel, which might be why I might put it off, just because young adult isn't really my jam lately, but I'm still really excited to eventually read this book, so might get to this one in February. Another book that I'm for sure going to be reading in February, because it's my current read right now, is A Ladder to the Sky by John Boyne. I finally made this book a priority, and you know, ever since finishing The Nightingale, I've been wanting to read a lot more historical fiction, and I was looking on my shelves for like all the historical fiction that I have that has been unread, and I realized, oh yeah, John Boyne, you know, The Heart's Invisible Furies is one of my favorite books of all time. It was one of my favorites of last year, so I've been really highly anticipating this book, and I'm already like 100 pages into this and I'm really enjoying it so far, so I'm planning on finishing this one first thing in February. Another historical fiction that I'm going to make it an absolute priority to read in February is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. Really excited to get into this book. I've started this book and I'm about 40 pages in and I couldn't get into it previously, but the same thing happened to me with The Nightingale, so like I'm sure I just need to give it more time to get into, but I'm definitely going to make this a priority to read in February. I just really want to read it in February. Another book that just came out that I'm definitely going to be reading this month is 99% Mine by Sally Thorne. This is the author of The Hating Game. It's her second novel that's coming out, and this one is a new adult romance novel, and it just came out on January 29th, so pretty recently, so I'm definitely going to be getting to this one in February. Another 2 historical fiction novels that I just went and bought because of The Nightingale. Like literally, okay, after I read The Nightingale, I got so much more interested in reading historical fiction, and now that's like all I can think about is like, what's the next historical fiction that I'm gonna read? So I picked up Winter Garden by Kristen Hanna because this is the one that everyone recommended. They said if you like The Nightingale, you'll probably also like The Winter Garden by Kristen Hanna because it's the same author and it's also a World War II historical fiction. So I don't really know what this one's about. I literally just picked it up because of everyone's recommendation of it to me. And then another one is All the Light We Cannot See. I know that this one is also a hugely popular World War II historical fiction that I've never read. So I've heard like mixed things about this one. It's like you either love it or you think it's like super overrated. So we'll see. Maybe I'll get to this one in February as well. Another one that's been on my TBR for a while that I would really like to get to in February is Baby Teeth. This one is like a thriller / horror novel about this like demonic child, as far as I know. Really would like to read this one soon. Hopefully I'll get to this in February. The last one that's on my TBR that I might get to in February is 1984 by George Orwell. This one is a classic that I just never got around to reading. Like I was never required to read this one in high school, but I've actually never read anything by George Orwell, and I don't remember what it was that got me interested in reading this, but I like all of a sudden just really wanted to read something by George Orwell, and so I just decided to pick up 1984 as my first. Yeah, so he's also the writer of Animal Farm, which is also a book that I would like to read. Really curious about this one, and I've just heard a lot of like mixed things about this one, and it seems like this one is also one that people either love or hate. So I'm just kind of curious. Like, I wanted to try to make it a priority for myself to read some more classics in 2019. So yeah, maybe I'll get to this one in February. I'm not too sure yet. Those are all the books on my actual February TBR. I know the Contemporary-a-thon is happening in February, but I'm not too sure if I'm going to participate in that or not, because most of the books on my TBR are not contemporaries for like the first time ever in my freaking life. Like, of course, the one time I really get into historical fiction is when the Contemporary-a-thon is happening, so not too sure if I'm going to participate in that or not, but let me know if you are. Thanks so much for watching as always, and I'll see you guys soon with a new video.